Ever noticed how someone can post a smiling selfie, but their caption says, nobody cares anyway? Or how a person says, I'm fine, but secretly wants someone to ask again and again, are you really okay? Welcome to one of the most confusing and fascinating topics of today, the dark psychology behind Gen Z behavior. Now, before anyone gets angry in the comments, relax. This is not about attacking Gen Z. In fact, every generation has their weird habits. Boomers had their things, millennials had theirs. But Gen Z grew up in a completely different world. A world of smartphones, constant notifications, viral trends, and social media drama. And when your entire life happens partly online, human behavior starts changing in interesting ways. Let's talk about it. First, let's discuss the attention game. Humans have always wanted attention. That's nothing new. Even thousands of years ago, people tried to stand out in their tribe. But social media turned attention into a currency. Likes are approval. Shares are popularity. Comments are validation. And Gen Z grew up measuring attention with numbers. Imagine two photos. One photo gets 20 likes. The other gets 2,000 likes. Even if the second photo is literally just a picture of coffee, suddenly it feels more valuable. This creates a subtle psychological loop. The brain starts chasing that tiny dopamine hit. You post, you refresh, you wait. Did anyone like it? 5 minutes later, refresh again. 10 minutes later, refresh again. It's basically the modern version of checking the fridge every 5 minutes, even though you know nothing new appeared. Now, here's where dark psychology slowly enters. Because when people realize attention works like this, some start engineering their behavior to trigger reactions. Think about dramatic posts. I guess I learned who my real friends are today. No context, no explanation, just mystery. What happens next? The comments explode. Are you okay? What happened? Who hurt you? Congratulations, attention achieved. Another example is subtle emotional manipulation. Let's say someone wants reassurance but doesn't want to ask directly. Instead of saying, hey, I'm feeling insecure today, they post something like, maybe I'm just not good enough for anyone. Now, suddenly friends rush in with compliments. You're amazing. You deserve better. And yes, sometimes people genuinely feel sad, but sometimes it becomes a learned strategy. Emotional posts bring emotional reactions. Next comes the fear of missing out. Gen Z sees everyone's life highlights all day long. Someone is traveling in Bali. Someone bought a new phone. Someone is at a party. Someone is getting six-pack abs. Meanwhile, you're at home eating noodles and watching YouTube. Suddenly, your brain says, wait, am I doing life wrong? This constant comparison creates pressure to look interesting, successful, or happy online, even when real life is boring. And let's be honest, real life is boring sometimes. Nobody posts, today I scrolled for 2 hours and then took a nap. But that's what half of us are doing. So people start curating their identity. Online personality becomes like a character in a movie. Some become the deep thinker. Some become the funny meme person. Some become the mysterious aesthetic soul. And once people build that image, they feel pressure to maintain it. Now, here's another interesting psychological shift: ironic emotions. Gen Z loves humor that mixes sadness and comedy. For example, life is falling apart. Or memes like me pretending everything is fine. Why? Because humor makes uncomfortable feelings easier to share. Instead of saying, I'm struggling, it becomes a joke. It's like putting emotional problems inside a meme sandwich. Pain, but with extra cheese. But there's also a darker side. Sometimes joking about everything can make real emotions harder to express seriously. Another pattern is detachment culture. You might hear phrases like, I don't care, it's not that deep, whatever. But often, people actually care a lot. Detachment can become a psychological shield. If you act like nothing matters, nothing can hurt you. Think about texting culture. Someone sends a message. The other person waits 2 hours before replying, even though they saw it instantly. Why?
because replying too fast might look desperate. So now we have a strange psychological chess game. Person A waiting to look cool, person B also waiting to look cool, both staring at their phones like secret agents. Meanwhile, the conversation could have finished 3 hours ago. Then we have cancel culture psychology. Gen Z strongly values justice and accountability, which is actually a good thing. But online, outrage spreads extremely fast, sometimes faster than facts. One viral clip, one screenshot, and suddenly thousands of people are attacking someone they've never met. Psychologists call this mob mentality amplified by the internet. In a crowd, individual responsibility feels smaller. When thousands of people are criticizing someone, it becomes easy to join the wave. It's like digital pitchforks. Now, here's something fascinating though. Gen Z is also one of the most self-aware generations ever. They talk about mental health openly. They discuss therapy, anxiety, burnout, trauma. Previous generations often hid these topics. So while some behaviors look manipulative or confusing, many of them come from people trying to navigate emotions in a hyper-connected world. Imagine growing up where your mistakes can go viral, your embarrassing moments can become memes, your relationships happen partly through screens. That's a psychological experiment humanity has never done before, and Gen Z is basically the test group. Sometimes they overshare, sometimes they hide feelings behind jokes, sometimes they chase attention, sometimes they reject everything and say nothing matters. But honestly, that's humans trying to adapt to a strange new environment. And if we're being honest, older generations would probably behave the same if they grew up with TikTok at age 12. So maybe the real takeaway isn't that Gen Z is dark or manipulative. Maybe it's that technology is reshaping human psychology in real time, and we're all figuring it out together. Because let's be real, if social media disappeared tomorrow, half of us would suddenly realize we don't know what to do with our hands. But until that happens, we'll keep posting, scrolling, liking, overthinking, and occasionally refreshing the same app 5 times in a minute, just in case someone liked our post. And if you're watching this right now, be honest. Did you check your phone while listening? Yeah, I thought so.